Hi everyone! For our final project, Lauren, Matthew, and I worked with Oakland Unified School District. Across its 7 districts, Oakland Unified School District serves over 34,000 students, 17,000 of which are elementary school-age students. The problem that we decided to solve through map analysis was which OUSD District 5 elementary schools should OUSD prioritize funding for to improve campus gardens. We focused on gardens because they're a valuable resource for schools. They increase access to nutritious foods, teach skills, serve as sites to learn about environmental literacy and climate justice. They mitigate the effects of urban heat islands, sequester carbon, and can enhance academic performance. Our project scope and topic was also informed by our consultation with OUSD Garden Site Supervisor Kat Romo.
We divided our question into 3 sub-questions. Sub-question 1 is looking around each school, which neighborhoods have the most need for quality green space? Students in these schools likely live in surrounding neighborhoods. If students aren't getting access to quality green spaces outside of school, then it's even more important that the schools they're attending have quality campus gardens. We'll use suitability mapping for this sub-question. Sub-question 2 is which campuses have the most need for garden expansion? All 7 District 5 schools have existing gardens, so identifying which schools could benefit the most from garden expansion / improvement will tell us where to prioritize funding. We'll also use suitability mapping for this sub-question. Once you compare the suitability maps from sub-question 1 and 2, we'll be able to identify schools that have a high need for garden improvement within their campuses and are surrounded by neighborhoods with high need for quality green space. Schools that score high in both these criteria are thus candidates for funding priority.
To further support these candidates, we decided to create a third sub-question, where in each elementary school campus will gardens receive the most sunlight? Our logic is that you'd want to fund schools with a high need for funding and a high potential for garden success. The first 2 sub-questions inform need, but this third sub-question informs potential for garden success. This is because sufficient sunlight is a major constraint for plant growth. South-facing slopes receive the most sunlight, so we can use tin modeling for this sub-question. Now that we've identified our sub-questions, let's discuss how we answer them.
For inside schools, we use NAIP imagery and Google Earth to help classify pavement, green space, gardens, and buildings. This image processing allows us to calculate non-permeable to permeable surface ratios, existing garden coverage, and existing green space coverage. We use these as opportunity and constraint layers.
For outside schools, we needed data on proximity to green spaces. We used surface area analyses for 5 and 10-minute walk radiuses to see which schools were near or far from parks. These schools were then exported as suitability layers. With layers produced through image processing and network analysis, we also included factors on campus enrollment, garden quality, income, public assistance, crime, and streets. We expand on our factor logic in these 2 flowcharts. Through one suitability analysis for inside schools and one for outside schools, we created these 2 maps. The schools with the most green inside campus borders and in the surrounding neighborhoods are Bridges Academy, followed by Global Family.
Our final step in this project was to use 3D tin modeling to determine whether Bridges and Global Family had south-facing slopes so that their gardens could get the most sunlight. From our slope aspect maps below, we concluded that they both did, and we can use this to suggest areas of expansion.
We found and overcame several limitations in doing our map analysis. Our first limitation was over our scope for the project, as doing every elementary school would take too much time, so we constrained ourselves to District 5. Street density was our second limitation, as we wanted to look at pollution captured from areas with high density streets. We were technically limited in ArcGIS and chose to make a street buffer to account for noise pollution. We ran into calculation limitations in that green spaces could be expanded into pavement, but not into buildings and gardens. We excluded green space and buildings from our ratio of garden to campus to look at potential for growth. We then ran into an issue of quantifying the permeability of spaces, but simplified by classifying as homogeneous polygons, which ended up still being fairly accurate. Our final limitation was working with incomplete data from garden managers. We had chosen to assume incomplete data was average and ended up still having solid calculations.
Bridges Academy, followed by Global Family, are the 2 elementary schools that OUSD should prioritize for funding according to our mapping project. Thank you for reading.